eBay sellers, you have landed on episode number 173 of eBay the Right Way. Today's date is July 10th, 2024, and my guest is Jennifer in Los Angeles. No announcements this week. We're just kind of in the middle of summer, putting one foot in front of the other, listing our stuff, some people going on vacation. Everything's going to pick up again real soon. So we will go right into the chat with Jennifer.
Hello, listeners. Welcome back. I have Jennifer with us today, and she was a little bit challenging to tie down because she's been busy traveling to Europe. And she just got back a couple of days ago. And so how are you doing this morning? Or it's morning where you are, right?
Yes, it's about 11:30 a.m. So in California.
And where are you located?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow.
In the Valley.
Okay.
If anybody knows Los Angeles.
So are you like a Valley girl?
No, I'm originally from upstate New York, but I've been in California for a long time.
You know that movie, right?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just had to throw that in. Okay. So you're in California.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, traveling to Europe.
Yes, my family and I took a trip. We were going to do it in 2020, and then, well, we all know what happened. And then, so we said, well, we got to get to it if we're going to get to it, because my kids are growing. And so we bit the bullet and just did it. And it was amazing. We went to the UK and we went to Ireland, and it was lovely.
Beautiful. Great. Yeah. You got to get those trips in before they're too busy to do them with you. It's going to be the grown being too busy, not you.
Exactly.
Okay, great. Well, we start off with talking about what brought you to eBay and when.
So I started eBay in 2015, and I think the reason I started it was, well, one, I have a best friend from my childhood who had been selling on eBay for 20 years. I mean, for a long time. And, I'd always watch her stuff, and she has a niche. She does vintage, but, and I just, I've always been a thrifter. And, as my kids were growing up, I think what prompted me to do eBay was I had done this kid sale. It was like a consignment sale, and I had done it a couple of years, and I just thought I could probably sell on eBay. So I started in 2015, and I just started with kids' clothes, and they sold. And so I was like, well, this is fun. So that's basically when I started and what I started with. And I have since kind of branched out into other little things, and I've started, following, obviously this group, and I've learned a lot. And I have another girlfriend here that lives near me that does eBay too. And so I've picked her brain, and so.
Are you part-time? Do you work?
I
a real job, a regular job.
Yeah, I consider myself a very part-time seller. It's funny. I feel like I go in waves. Mm-hmm. And I think because our trip was coming up, I said, let me just go 100% and, for extra money for our trip. And it seemed to pay off. And, when I was gone, I put my page on hold, and I had 7 sales by the time I came back. And I was like, oh, okay. So, so I consider myself a very part-time seller. And every now and then I just give myself a real push and do it more.
And what is your profession?
Right now I work for a nonprofit that services adults with disabilities. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I do that. And then I've done a little acting, and I've done all kinds of stuff.
Well, you're in Los Angeles, so isn't everyone like a waiter, waitress, bartender, or actress?
Well, there's so many parts to this industry. It's not just the people in front of the camera. So,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, there's hundreds of thousands of people behind the scenes, but yeah. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's what people don't realize is that thing you're watching on streaming or movies, how many people and how many hours it took to get it that way. I have a friend who runs a crop business in Atlanta,
Yes. Yeah,
and they
exactly.
ship all over the place. And but when the actors are on strike or any of that's
Oh, it
happening,
affects
then
everybody.
no
Yeah,
work,
when
no work.
any group within the industry is on strike, it just trickles down
Mhm.
because you can't make art without all the parts. So,
I think anybody who enjoys movies and TV and any of that needs to be required to either watch a documentary on all the
absolutely.
behind the scenes or go to a filming on location or studio. Whatever.
Absolutely.
On location's got to be a nightmare because the weather's
Oh,
got to be right. You got to get all the extra
yeah.
people out of there. And what if it's windy and it messes up the sound? And
Right.
that just seems like a nightmare. But
Exactly. The actors are the only part you see on screen. Everything else,
exactly.
there are regular everyday folks who are electricians and all, carpenters and dressmakers and seamsters.
Oh yeah,
The
the
list goes on and
wardrobe.
on and on and on.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's not just the actors.
I
But
didn't mean to digress into that.
yes, of course.
It is. It's when they say production, that's
Right.
what they mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get somebody like I don't know, Lindsay Lohan that doesn't show up or shows up drunk or something like that, and then all this money's wasted because they paid all these other people to be there, and they
Time is
can't
money
do
in
the
this
filming.
industry. Yeah.
Yeah,
Time is money.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my rant.
Okay.
Let's get back to eBay. Okay, so you said you started in 2015. So let's talk about where you get your inventory. I'm thinking, oh, she's in Los Angeles. She's probably got access to a lot of really cool places to get inventory.
Well, like I said earlier, I've always been a thrifter and I love a good thrift store, and we have some really great ones out here. But I don't have any one specific place that I source from. I only learned of the Goodwill bins, believe it or not, maybe 2 years ago. I was like, Goodwill bins, what's that? And my girlfriend, she was like, oh no, you need to go to this. And I was like, okay.
Discovery is waiting to be made.
Well, I have found some really great things. I recently
Let's hear about that.
well, I recently found at the Goodwill bins, it was a tiny little plush doll, no more than 6 inches tall. And it was from Sid the Science Kid, that TV show back when my kids were little. And it was the Gabriella doll. And so, when you do the math, it was like, I don't know, 12 cents that I paid for her. And I sold her for $75, I think. It was ridiculous. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, so something like that. But I found a Lily Pulitzer dress, perfect condition one time there. I was like, oh, okay. I find all kinds of stuff there, but I don't go to the bins too often. I have to give myself time because, as we know, it's a treasure hunt there. But I normally just go to different thrift stores around LA. If I can get to the West Side, I'll hit the thrift stores over there because it's a little more posh area, And so, but I feel like living in Los Angeles, you have a lot of money and a lot of people who, when they just want to get rid of stuff, they just get rid of it. They don't, pass it down or whatever. They just call the thrift store and come and get it. So that's where I'm like, okay, I'll go. But I have found some really great things in thrift stores, obviously. But then I love a good garage sale. And I found I always love the Money Making Monday post because I have learned so much from that. Like, I'll just go through it and I'll think, oh, okay, keep my eye out for this, for that. And I recently found something that I saw on the Money Making Monday post. I haven't listed it yet, but I thought, oh, this is a money maker. So
Do you remember what is it?
they are Martha Stewart, Martha by Mail, the giant copper cookie cutters.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I got that. I got
Yeah.
12 of them for $1 each.
Are you kidding? Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
I
in
haven't
one of
listed them yet.
that was in one of my BOLO books. And,
Okay.
because when I found out about that, I'm like, oh gosh, people need to know this.
Yeah, and I
Women
saw.
are walking past those and don't even know. I mean,
Yes.
some of them are worth like $75, $100.
Yeah, when I looked up the comps, I thought, oh, so I went back and how much for these? And oh, I think they're Martha Stewart vintage. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I don't know, $1 each. And I said, I'll take them all.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. I think the value comes from it was one of the first things she did. And
Oh,
it was in her by mail catalog. So they weren't even in stores.
oh,
So
really? I didn't know that. Okay.
everybody pause the podcast and run to your kitchen and look and see if you have any of the copper Martha Stewart by mail cookie cutters and look
Yeah.
those up. You will be shocked.
Yeah. I was shocked when I did the comp search. I was, wow. Okay.
So they're not listed yet.
No, I haven't listed them yet.
Well, if you don't get around to it, I'll pay you $1 each. You can just send them to me.
Sounds good.
Oh, that was a garage sale, not the bins.
That was a garage sale. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I go to garage sales, and I always just, but again, I've always loved garage sales too. I've always been that person who one man's junk is another man's treasure. And I've been to a couple of estate sales, and I recently had a sale where I didn't really find anything, and my husband and I were walking out of this estate sale, and there was a big basket of like backpacks and duffel bags and that kind of stuff. So I just, I started picking through it, and I picked up this leather satchel bag, and I thought, this is interesting. And I looked, and it was from the brand Roots from Canada, that brand Roots. And it was a messenger bag, but on it had Indiana Jones, well, don't quote me, but the crystal, whatever.
Crystal skulls or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And the woman who was running the woman who lived there at the estate sale, she said, oh, I worked on that film. And that was a crew gift. And I was like, oh, great, wonderful. And I said, how much do you want for it? And she's like, $5. And I was like, great, I'll take it. I just sold that recently for $175.
Nice.
So I was very excited about that. That sat for a little while, and I had a bunch of watchers, and I had an offer, and I just said no. I said, no, I think it can go, because it's rare, and it's from an actual film. And I mean, it was a crew gift, but still. But yeah, so that was fun too.
Nice. And so back to like garage sales and the bins. It's just, there's something in us resellers that it's all about the hunt. That's a primal urge, like a human thing that we're always on the hunt for stuff. Back in the day, when people were first invented, you're hunting for food.
Yes.
You're hunting for shelter. Where are you going to sleep tonight? All that. And that is just carried over into hunting in people's garages.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, the hunt is the most fun part for me. Obviously, making a sale is wonderful, but it's so interesting because I find if I'm ever stressed or just having a day, or I'll say to my husband, I just need to go have some me time. And he's like, okay, go to the thrift store. He knows, even if I don't get anything, it's just my calm place to just browse the aisles and just, it brings me a lot of peace for whatever reason.
Yes. Me looking through clothing. It's just a relaxing activity.
Yes.
And it's okay if I don't even find anything. I usually find
absolutely
myself, but
yeah. He knows it's my happy place.
It's just kind of a meditative thing. I'm not at home. everybody gets tired of being at home.
Yeah.
And, it's, if I find something great, but I go in there with what is waiting for me,
Yes.
and what am I going to see? And, it's a thrifting therapy.
Exactly. And
Retail
sometimes
therapy, it's thrifting.
exactly. And I feel like with myself and just my couple of friends who do it, they get it. Like they don't, I don't even have to explain it. They're like, I get it. I get it. Like, it's just our happy place. And like you said, even if I don't find anything, it's okay. And every now and then, if I go in, I'll set an intention right before I go in. Just, what's meant for me will find me. And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. And I realized, well, then I wasn't meant to find anything today. And maybe that's a good thing, because we all have stuff that we need to list.
And you don't just want to buy stuff for the sake of buying stuff because you're in the store. It's like, well, maybe this is pushing me in another direction. Maybe this is, you got out, go home and list your crap.
Exactly. Because believe me, I have plenty to list.
Yeah. Well, what's in your pile that you haven't listed yet, other than the Martha Stewart?
Oh, I'm looking.
I mean, those are really lightweight. If you want to send them to me, I'll pay you.
I have, I have some kids' clothes, obviously. What else do I have? I have some women's nightgowns. I find that women's nightgowns tend to do well too. And again, I think it's just learning from other sites, or again, the Money Making Monday. I have learned so much from that thread alone. I've learned so much. But yeah, I have clothes. I have some plushies. I have, some loveys. Oh, one lovey. I think it was like my first really big sale. To me, it was a big sale. I found in a teeny tiny thrift store, kind of off the beaten path. I found a vintage Fisher Price bunny rabbit lovey. And it was
the one with the blanket on it, the bunny. Yes,
and it has plaid on it.
Highly sought after. It comes in different colors and
yes. I found it and I thought, this is cute. And then I looked at the tag and it said Fisher Price, and I said, oh, this is old. I could just tell by the tag. And I think I got it for 89 cents and I sold it for $75.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, business enthusiasts, ready to boost your entrepreneurial journey? Tune in to the Growth Gear Podcast with Tim Jordan, presented by Carbon 6. Tim dives into cutting-edge business growth strategies and new brand insights. Whether you're a startup founder or a seasoned exec, gain the tools to elevate your business. Subscribe to the Growth Gear with Tim Jordan on your favorite podcast platform. Shift into high gear. The Growth Gear is your guide to fast-paced business success.
And I was like,
very good.
Yeah, that was like my first big sale.
I can't believe I've been looking for that thing for years.
Oh,
maybe I'll find it today. Yeah. Wait, back to the nightgowns. Do you look at vintage ones, or is it modern brands, or what?
What is the brand? Eileen West.
Yes, Eileen West.
Yes, I looked for those. I have 2 nightgowns that have been listed for quite some time, and I'm kind of shocked they haven't sold yet. But I got those at an estate sale, and they're kind of like full sweep. I can't remember the name. They're probably hanging here.
Olga?
Somewhere. They're not Olga. They're
okay.
No, but I did sell one of those one time. But it's of that type. It's like the nylon-y.
Or like maybe Vanity Fair or something like that.
Yeah, it's not Vanity Fair either, but it's something Beverly Hills, because it's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have 2 of them listed and they still haven't sold. I'm kind of shocked, but yeah, so Eileen West, sometimes Vanity Fair, depending on what it looks like, obviously. what else? Sometimes like around Christmas, I have sold 2 of these, like the union suits, from what is it, Hearth and Hand, the Joanna and Chip Gaines brand.
Okay.
Yeah, I found a couple of those and they both sold. But yeah, so Bedhead, I think, is another brand.
Oh, Bedhead is a great brand.
Yes. I found and they're not listed yet. I have to list them, but a beautiful 2-piece pajama set, and they're koi fish all over them, and they're beautiful. I just haven't listed them yet.
Well, that's okay. You're just
I know.
That's good.
I know, but it is good, but it isn't.
Well, but at least you have it.
Yes.
Like, God forbid if you lost your job and
True.
needed some income, you've got some gold there in your pile. So not a bad investment. I mean, I look at that all the time. I keep my numbers, and this thing costs $1 and it sold for 50 in a couple of months. Where else can you get a return on investment like that? That's legal.
Yes.
And I'm not, no gambling, just an investment, something you purchased. Like, you can't do that with stocks. You can't do that with anything.
Right.
And it's just, you have to be patient and you have to be wise about what you're listing and how you're spending your time.
Right. Exactly. I mean, I think we've all made the mistake thinking, oh, this will sell, and then it doesn't sell. And you're like, oh. So, but that's when you mark the price down and just get rid of it, so.
Well, that's retailers do that. It's called liquidating,
Exactly.
Go into any, you have Kohl's out there, Kohl's department.
You do, yes.
In their clearance section. Didn't sell within the time frame needed for shelf space or whatever the reason is. And, we can do that too. Something wrong with it. You made your best decision in that moment. You're not out there making bad decisions on purpose. And it's not really a decision. It was in that moment. Things change. So yeah, I don't like to call them bad buys or anything like that. It's just, didn't work out the way I thought. Moving on.
Right. And I try when I do go sourcing wherever it might be, mostly the thrift store, I'll put stuff in my basket, and then I do I'll go through it all and I'll say,
a review before paying.
Yes. And, if I find a really cute dress, and I'm like, okay, well, how many dresses do I have that I haven't listed yet? Do I really need to do this one right now? And so I'll put it back if I need to, and just, I try to downsize and make smarter decisions.
Yeah, I do that too. I look through everything again. And sometimes that's looking for defects, like,
yes,
the bottom's cracked, or I'm terrible with shoes. I just miss things, or like the rubber bottoms come unglued, or something like that. That's I'm just so excited to find that Keen, or whatever the higher end shoes are that sell well, and it's like I do that all the time. I got to slow down and inspect better.
Yes. Or you get a piece of clothing home and you're like, oh, I didn't see that stain on it. And I've gotten really good at getting stains out on certain things. So, but yeah, there's nothing worse.
Do you have any magic tricks on that?
When it comes to stains, I've learned to, depending on the color, like if it's something white or super light, I do the whole baking soda Blue Dawn vinegar. No, not vinegar. Is it vinegar? Yes, it is vinegar. Baking soda Blue Dawn vinegar trick. Make it a paste, put it on, and then let it sit, and then scrub it out, and then dry it in the sun. That's the key. It will lighten it up.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And then sometimes I just list things saying, and I take really good pictures. I make sure that if there's a flaw, it is disclosed. It is a picture with it. So I try to be crystal clear about that, So people, sometimes people are good at getting things out better than me. So, or they
Yeah,
don't care. Or
it's interesting if you go on eBay research and just put in something like white shirt imperfect or white shirt stain or something like that, and see how many things sell in imperfect condition.
oh, okay.
Because I mean, a lot of people, that's for the listeners, not really for you, but
No, but for me too. I didn't know that.
this isn't going to sell. It's imperfect. And hey, give it a shot and just put imperfect, has
Yeah.
holes,
Yeah.
stain, whatever it is, and at least try.
Right.
If it's a nicer item and maybe that person doesn't care, maybe it's going to be used for theater or something, and the stain's not going to show, because theater, like, the audience is way back, they can't see close
Yes.
up. There's reasons that people might want it and not care. Or maybe they're one of these stain people that's like, I'm going to be challenged, I'm going to get that stain out.
Mm-hmm.
And they buy it to see if they can rescue it.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah.
I just try to disclose that if there's some kind of flaw, I do my best to disclose it.
I didn't know about the baking soda Dawn vinegar paste.
Yes, it's the Blue Dawn. It's the
Okay.
Blue Dawn, and I usually get the little ultra concentrated one, and you just put baking soda, a squirt of that, and some peroxide. It's peroxide, not vinegar. There we have it.
Okay.
Peroxide, and you make a paste, and you put it on the spots, and then you let it sit for, I don't know, an hour or two, whatever. And then I just take an old toothbrush and I scrub, and then I put it out in the sun to dry, and it usually does the trick.
Wonderful. I
Yeah.
love that. I'm gonna try that next time. It is.
You have to be careful on colors with that, obviously, because of the peroxide. But if it's something white, like yellow stains, in the armpits, it tends to work. And then for colored things, sometimes I just, sometimes you buy stuff and it's literally crusty food and somebody just didn't wash it,
right.
and you can easily launder that.
Yeah. Good. Okay. What are some of your look for items? Do you sell anything?
So my look for items are, yes, I do sell anything, but I think I always look for kids' shoes, native shoes.
Okay.
I've sold so many of those lately. I look for interesting kitchen things.
Like gadgety things?
Sometimes gadgets, sometimes mugs,
Mugs. Okay.
yeah, sometimes mugs, sometimes glassware, but very rarely, just if it's something interesting. I usually I don't do a ton of kitchen stuff, but if I find something of interest, sometimes I find really great butter dishes,
Mhm.
Anthropology stuff.
Yes.
Anthropology.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
some of their coffee mugs, I'm always like, really? Wow. They go for a lot. So,
Uh-huh.
and I'll always do a comp search first and see if there's, anything there. I always look for Jellycats.
Yes.
I recently sold, oh my gosh, this is a good one. I was very happy about this. I found a Jellycat, and I think I found it in Burbank, California. I found it in a thrift store, and it was toad, and I thought it was a frog at first, and I wasn't.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm looking up frog, and I'm like, I don't see it anywhere. And then I don't know what, I was like, oh, let me try toad. And so I looked it up, and there were two comps, and they were both over $100. And I was like, whoa. And so I think I got it for $3.99. I absolutely got it. And then I sent a picture of it to my friend who also sells on eBay, and she does a lot of Jellycats and stuff. And I said, I found this. I looked up the comps. I said, I have no idea how to price it, And she's like, well, there's none on eBay right now. Those two you found already sold. She's like, so price it high and see what happens. And I was like, okay. So I did. And I got one offer and I said no, because I think I had 23 watchers on it.
Ah,
Yeah. And I said, no, I'm not taking any offers right now. If it's up there for 6 months, then maybe, but I had just listed it and it sold for full price of $150. And it was an international sale.
oh,
Yeah. So I was like, oh gosh, please let it get there, and it got there and she left me a lovely review. So I was very happy.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Look
Yeah.
at that. How
Yeah.
big was it?
In the realm of small, medium, or large, it was, I think, like a medium, maybe. It
Mhm.
wasn't too big, but it's called I Am Toby Toad. That
Okay.
was the full name of it. So I'm sure if you searched it on eBay, you might even see my sale. But yeah, I was very happy with that. When it sold, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I love Jellycat, and
Yeah.
the tag is so easy to recognize.
To
'Cause,
spot, yes.
some of the other brands, it's like I need my reading glasses. I can't even see what that says, but Jellycat has that
So
black
distinct.
face, and it's very easy to recognize. So I love
Yeah.
finding things. What I find, I just get them.
Yes.
I
Pretty much.
sold one, I think last week. I had it for almost 2 years. It was a pink bunny rabbit. It was only 6 inches,
Mm.
and it was just cute. And I had it priced at 40, sold for full price.
Wow.
And it cost me $1. And
See,
it's
that's
sometimes you gotta wait for that
Yeah.
kid to lose it until you sell.
exactly. Yes.
Or
Yeah.
wait for it to get, thrown out the car window by accident, or whatever happens to these, lost at the amusement park.
Right.
Yeah, but I had just ended the listing and restarted it maybe a week earlier. So it gets a bump to the top when you do that.
Right.
I was like, oh yeah, that it is worth the time to do that, to end and restart. Because I keep track of. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, when do you, because it's so funny. I still feel like there's so much I haven't learned about eBay itself. But I did hear that it's good to end listings and sell similar, right?
Yes.
But I'll end listings if it has like a day left. And I don't know, is that right? Or how?
Well, here's my philosophy on that. People used to do that because then they wouldn't be charged again for it to renew. But we all get so many free listings, so I don't think about that. I sort my listings by oldest. So my philosophy is the oldest ones need to be refreshed, not what's renewing right now.
Oh, okay.
Because it's been sitting there longer. It's get pushed to the bottom because it is older. So just do a sort on your active listings by date listed or something like that. And I just do maybe 5 a day of the oldest.
Okay.
And it does work. So maybe the listeners can say or contact me or discuss why they're doing the ones that are renewing the soonest. Because those may not have been there. They may only have been there 30 days. They haven't had time to sell. But if you've got something that's 4, 5, 6 months old, it needs to be refreshed. It's stale.
Okay. Yeah.
And even if, for the listeners too, if you're doing the ending and restarting, try it that way and see if you get better results by ending the oldest ones, because people do this by rote every day. And sometimes it doesn't matter. They don't sell anything. So maybe change the strategy to see if you get better results.
Okay. That makes sense.
Are you doing that? Ending and restarting?
I do end some, and I've tended to do things that have been sitting for a while.
Okay, great.
If I just listed something, 3 weeks, or whatever, almost 4 weeks ago, and it's about to, I leave it. I try to leave it, unless it's something that I'm like, oh, it's, a holiday coming up or something. Maybe I'll do that just to bump it. But yeah, like I said, when I was on my vacation, I had 7 sales, and so many of them were things that had been sitting for so long. I was like, oh, so maybe I should go out of town more. because lots of things seem to sell when I was gone and they've been sitting there forever.
That's the universe telling you it's okay to take a vacation. Things you've done the work. And I think we forget that when we don't have sales, because I do, I haven't had a sale in 3 days. What am I doing? I got to list more. I got to list more. And that always helps. But look back at how much work you've done that just hasn't come to fruition yet.
Right. And you have to still enjoy your life.
Yes. That's why we do this. It's for side money. It's not to be glued to our computers 12 hours a day.
It's the same in the acting world. People always say, just book a vacation. Go ahead, book a vacation and see what happens. And it's so all of a sudden your auditions are coming in and you're like, but I'm going out of town or what. So I believe that too. The universe has a way of saying, just go enjoy your life and I'll take care of the rest.
I went to Atlanta recently to visit my son, and I had all kinds of sales, and it had been dead before I left. And that was just, okay, that's my permission. It's okay to step away and do something else and let all the work catch up. So, how many items do you have listed or in your store?
That's a really good question. I can look it up real quick. Maybe I don't even have a store.
Just listed items.
Yeah.
For perspective on a part-time seller.
Sure. I have 106 things listed right now.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
With everything else you're doing in life.
Yeah. So I did, of course, my brain goes to as soon as I get home from my vacation and I get these things to the post office. I'm like, all right, I gotta get some more up there because it's been good. These 2 months before my trip, like I said, I really kind of pushed myself, and I've sold quite a bit. Probably the most that I've ever sold since I started doing this in 2015.
Oh, wonderful!
Because I've been really consistent, and so I'm like, all right, well, let's keep this momentum going. Yeah, so plushes and loveys, that's what I look for. Oh, I did find a dress recently that I thought was really cute, and I had never heard of this brand, but it was a linen dress, and I thought, well, linen, summer, perfect. And it was red, white, and blue striped, and it was just really pretty. It had a little belt, and I think it was $4.99. And I looked up the label, and again, you look at the comps and you see, oh, this is something. I had never heard of it. It was called Heel James. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not heard of that.
Yeah, nor had I. But I think I had it listed for 3 days before it sold. And I think I can't remember exactly, but I think I listed it for like 54 or something.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay, well, that's another brand I can keep my eyes out for. But I thought, well, let me get this listed ASAP because of the 4th of July.
Right. It's the time. Yes. Good time of year. Do you ever do consignment stores?
You know what? I haven't. That's a really good idea.
I'm just thinking because of where you live.
Yes.
Because they have clearance, because they have limited floor space. So when it's time for the seasons to change, they usually clearance, they have a system usually of like when it's first put on consignment in their store, it's this price. And then every few weeks or months or whatever, it drops a percentage, the price drops. So you may find some great things that are end of season because eBay has no seasons. You can sell anything anytime.
Exactly.
But the physical brick and mortar that has a limited space, they're always looking at the next season, getting the stuff up there for the next season.
Right. No, that's a really good idea. I should look up some consignment stores around me.
Yes, I challenge you to check that out.
Okay, I will. I know there is a kids consignment sale over in Burbank, and I should go over there and look for some specific brands,
When I hear Burbank, I think of The Price is Right.
Yeah.
You're always live from our studio in Burbank.
Yeah.
Funny what you remember. What year were you born?
68.
Okay, so you're just 2 years younger than me. Okay, so you were an 80s teenager.
Yes.
the best decade ever.
That's right. Little shout out. I just watched the Brat Pack documentary. Have you watched
Oh,
it?
really?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Is that on Netflix?
It just came out on Hulu. Yeah.
Oh, Hulu,
Can I
okay.
say this for any listener who is of our generation? It was interesting. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the 80s clothes are hot. And I mean, that's from that 70s show, Kelso's striped vest. He wears a puffy vest that's got stripes. There's like a
Oh, did Fez wear that?
No, that was Michael Kelso.
Oh.
He always had that vest on. Anyway, I had a coat just like that. I was like, oh, wish I had that.
I did find a members only jacket once.
Ah.
And it was the kind that we wore in the 80s with the little members on, and it was a men's jacket. And yeah, that sold pretty quickly when I listed it.
Yeah.
And I also went to an estate sale that I found 3 vintage Grateful Dead t-shirts.
This is so weird. I did an interview earlier this morning, and that's what she was talking about.
Really?
Grateful Dead. She found a Grateful Dead shirt and something else you were talking about. She was talking about that too. It's like, woo! And her name's Melanie, and she's in North Carolina. So it's interesting to hear you bring that up. It's like, woo!
that is interesting. Yeah, this was an estate sale, not run by an estate company. You know how sometimes they do become. It was obviously just the family doing it. It's the same place where I found the 2 nylon nightgowns. But yeah, I found 3 Grateful Dead t-shirts. 2 of them were, I think it's called Liquid Blue. That was the label. That is the original Grateful Dead. I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me, but and then another was just like a tie-dye that said Grateful Dead, but that still sold for a good amount. But one of them sold for $175 and I got it for $1.89.
Ah, very good.
Yeah.
Nice. So Jellycat was the other thing she was talking about.
Oh,
she found a pink poodle and sold it for about the same price you sold that toad.
wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're all in the same lane here.
That's right. And it's funny because my daughter, who's 21, every now and then I'll say, look what I found. And she's like, oh, can I keep that? And I was like, no, it's not for you. She was so mad when I sold those Grateful Dead shirts. I was like, sorry.
Yeah, those are a little too pricey to let go of. Yeah, I would love to find something like that. Concert t-shirts just can sell for crazy prices.
Yeah.
But you got to have patience if you're looking through them at thrift stores or whatever, because there's a lot of t-shirts in thrift stores. It takes some time to look through them all.
Exactly.
But you got that at an estate sale.
Yes, it was just a very small estate sale put on by the family, but it was in a little tiny house and they just had a bunch of stuff. And I just went in the bedroom and started going through the drawers and I was like, wait, so
that's the best.
Yeah.
When it's just so much stuff. Sometimes you walk into an estate sale and you get in the front door and you're like, yeah, there's not hardly anything in here.
Yeah. Or you go into an estate sale and it's stuff that you're like, okay, out of my price range.
Right. Yeah. They're kind of boutique lights. Yeah. Some of them are getting a little too proud of those items. Like, I'm not paying that.
Sometimes I find the thrift stores are the same way. It always amazes me that big thrift stores, national thrift stores, I'll just say that, how high they're pricing things. I'm like, really? Didn't you get this for free?
Yeah.
And I understand it. I understand the machine of it, but at the same time, I'm like, that's practically brand new prices,
Right. I think you just have to learn how to work the deals because
go on the half off days and that kind of stuff.
I'm in Illinois now and they have what they had in Georgia with Goodwill. The oldest color goes on sale on Sundays. It's 50% off. But then on Mondays, that color, everything, the clothing is $1.
Right. I think
So,
they do that.
you know,
out.
that's a game changer when it's $6 regular price.
Sure.
Like, I'm not paying 6 for it, but I'll pay 1 and sell
Right.
it, you know. So that's kind of a challenge too.
Yeah.
Out, but okay, we have time for one more thing that you want to talk about. An item, a sale, an experience.
One time I found they were cross stitch patterns, and it was a brand called Mirabella.
Yes, those can be high dollar.
Yeah. So I found in a little, I think it was like the Cancer Society thrift store, and again in Burbank. I found all 9 reindeers, Santa's
Really?
reindeers. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were unopened, not used, brand new. And I think I sold the whole set for $125, I think. And I think I got them for $3 a piece, maybe. So
Excellent.
yeah. So that was another fun one. But yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at some of my stuff here, and I kind of do a little bit of everything,
Mhm. Well, you're doing an
Clothing.
outstanding job because
Aw,
I
thank you.
reached out to you after seeing some of your sales. I don't comment on everything, but I'm out here watching. And I was like,
Yeah, those 3 sales that I listed were all within like a week of each other. That's why because I think I've only posted on Money Making Monday, maybe once or twice, maybe like in all the time that I've known it. But I was so proud of those. I was like, I'm going to put these down.
yeah, I saw you several times. I don't know if you put it on the regular one or the $100 one, but
No, I think I just put it on. I
attention
only do the Money Making Monday one.
I pay attention to names I keep seeing over and over again. I have a huge spreadsheet with all kinds of names on it, like people I reach out to. So it's not the blacklist, it's the green list.
I love seeing what people are doing because, again, like I said, I've learned so much from that thread. Every Monday, I look forward to it. I'm like, okay, what have people done? And
yeah,
sometimes it's the tiniest little thing, and you're like, really? Who knew that was coveted?
Yeah, like a keychain that sells for $100 or something. Like, just I think it keeps us all motivated to see that. Okay, this may not be happening for me right now, but it's happening for other people. I'm in that zone. I'm in that world. I could find it anytime.
Yes, yes, agreed. And I think, again, going back to, there's so much stuff in the world, maybe too much stuff.
Yeah.
But if you can, pass it on to somebody else. I mean, I think that's another reason why I love thrifting, is just because you find things that maybe you've been looking for and you're like, oh, here it is. And believe me, I thrift stuff and people are like, oh, are you going to sell that? I'm like, no, I'm keeping this for me, because it's a unique thing or just something that I could use,
Yeah.
I think the majority
treat yourself.
Yes.
Treat yourself to a $3 item.
I have a girlfriend who lives in Northern California, and she once came down for a visit, and she's like, can we go thrifting? And I was like, don't have to ask me twice.
You don't even have to ask, right?
Right. Let's just go. And it's so funny. We were laughing out loud because she had a basket full of stuff, and she was like, oh, I don't know if I should get it. And then she was like, why am I haggling over a $2 something? She's like, of course I'm going to get it. But again, it's just that whole thing of, should I spend the money on it? Well, in a normal store, a regular store, you'd be paying 3 times the price,
Yeah. When you're done with it, you can sell it and make 3 times what you paid. So that's my justification. It's like, I'm going to buy this and enjoy this for a while, and then I can sell it when I paid for it, and I'm making money and getting to enjoy it. So we're living the dream.
Right.
Okay, well, we're getting to the end here. Did you want to answer one of the questions at the end?
Oh, sure. What book am I reading?
What book are you reading?
I just finished a book, and it's called Fast Like a Girl by Dr. Mindy Peltz.
Okay. I have not.
Okay, well, it's a book about fasting and how fasting can really heal your body. And it's
Yes.
specifically, this book, Fast Like a Girl, is specifically for women who are of a certain age going through a certain change, and how, we gain weight and how it's harder to get off, and how fasting can help with that. And it's not just about the losing weight, it's about healing your body. And it was really interesting. It was really, really interesting. And like you said in the very beginning of our chat, how we used to, as a species, we would just go and hunt. And she talks about that in the very beginning of the book, about how, humans would feast, and then they would go days without eating, and they survived.
Mhm.
And how their bodies were so strong because of it. And it's just about that, basically, about how
Well, that's fantastic. Now, are you fasting?
yeah, I have been.
And so do you do like a certain number of hours of fasting? And
Yeah,
then
I usually do, it's the 12-8. So
Mhm.
or no, I'm sorry, 16-8. So
Okay.
yeah. And in the beginning, you're like, oh, I'm kind of hungry. And then after a while, it just,
Yeah. I've been
just
doing
not.
it since 2018. I
Okay.
had type 2 diabetes, and I just kept getting worse and worse, and following the doctor's protocol. And I was even on insulin, and it just kept getting worse, and they want to keep giving me more medications. And I said, no, I'm going to figure this out, because people have reversed it naturally. And this is a modern disease. It's a lifestyle disease.
Yes.
Too is lifestyle. So I started it then. I have a whole video on YouTube about it, but I do up to 18 hours. And people think, oh, aren't you starving? My friends are like, you don't eat breakfast, that's not good for you. And I'm like, no.
Really good for you.
I do. Well, like the ancient Greeks, they did it. And for the brain power it brings you when you are running on fat rather than putting more food in. But you have to get used to it, and you slowly increase that fasting time. But I don't think about it anymore. I do my bulletproof coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm not hungry till 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And then I eat nutritious, low carb foods.
Yeah.
Like my friends are like, oh, you eat too much healthy crap. But it's about how I feel.
Exactly.
And fasting is very healthy.
It's
and
very
we're not supposed to be eating every 2 hours. That is not good for us.
Right.
So
she talks about the different, like you said, you do 18, and she talks about how, every now and then you throw in a 24-hour fast, and what that will do to your body.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's a really interesting book. I actually, that one, I listened part-time to it on audio too, while I was driving, because I wanted to keep listening, keep reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just really interesting. And it was very eye-opening.
Yeah. And that fasting is when your body has the opportunity to take out the trash.
Yes.
And when you're constantly putting food in, your digestion is focused on that. When you fast, it's cleansing itself. And I mean, I drink like the LaCroix water and the fizzy water and stuff. And I just don't, at breakfast, I just don't even want it now. I eat breakfast for dinner because I like breakfast food. I just don't want it at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
So congratulations. Welcome aboard the fasting. And it makes your skin look better, and you have more energy, and you sleep better.
And the inflammation I mean, she's a doctor, and she brings the receipts for everything, and just the studies that they've done. It's incredible. And the inflammation that goes down, and you get out of bed and you're achy, and
it's very healing, very healing. So I'm proud of you. Keep it up. Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining us and telling us your story. And post more on the group because we're going to be looking for it.
I will. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. It was great to meet you.
You
Bye.
too.
Okay, now for today's trivia question. Since Jennifer mentioned working in the film industry, how many people on average work on a movie set? Here's a few seconds to think it over. Okay, the answer I found says the average film set employs between 500 and 1,000 people, all with different roles and responsibilities. Just to name a few. At any given moment, a director can formulate new ideas to be executed or decide to pivot when a plan isn't coming together. That's a lot of people. So think about it like this. When the credits roll at the end of a movie or TV show, all of those names are real people that had a job making that film or TV show a reality. We just don't see all those people on the screen. Okay, next week my guest is Cheryl, whose husband is someone we all know and love from the Facebook group. I did not even know this until we started the recording. So you learn something new every day. Please tune in next week to hear from Cheryl and how she and her husband work on their separate eBay businesses. Thank you all for listening. I hope you're enjoying your summer and have a wonderful week on eBay and in life. Talk to you next week. Bye for now.